It's Monday. How are you all doing out there? Hopefully everyone's having a good day so far. Hey, welcome to the show. We're just going to be chatting today a little bit, having some fun. Nothing serious. Hey, Tammy, how are you? Just chilling to my music, waiting to get going. It's a rainy Monday morning in the Boston area. It's cold, it's rainy. Hey, welcome to the John DiVito Show, everybody. Hopefully everyone is having a very good Monday so far. And I'll tell you, the weekend went by literally, it seems like in 5 minutes. It went by so quickly. Tammy, welcome to the live show. And we're going to just be chit-chatting today, hopefully about some not so important things going forward. I'm going to try to avoid some politics today and things like that. But my kids kind of laugh because I say I'm going to avoid politics. And next thing I know, I'm in a big political battle on my show. So I'm hoping that won't happen today. Hey, Bunty, welcome to the live show. But it is a rainy, cold, raw day in New England right now. I'm in, pretty close to Boston. That's easy for people to understand where I am if you're from other parts of the country or other parts of the world. But it's probably, if I had to guess, 35 or 40 degrees Fahrenheit. It's cold, it's rainy, and it's just one of those miserable winter days. And I know technically we're not into winter yet, but it is cold and it is miserable outside right now. So I may spend most of my day in the house. We're still working remotely here in Massachusetts. My 4 kids are home doing their school, and I'm working remotely out of my house, for a great company. I'm so happy that I work for the company that I do. If any of you are familiar with science curriculum in schools, I work for a company called LabAIDs. They're based in New York, and it's literally the best company on the face of the earth. Great people. The management really care about their employees, and I feel very fortunate to work for, this amazing company. So all's good, and they've been very loyal to their employees during the pandemic. So I think today, for a little bit, I'm going to be joined by my beautiful and intelligent co-host, Kaitlyn, who may happen to have the same last name as me. It could be Kaitlyn DiVito. And, had a lot going on this weekend. As always, we're very busy in the DiVito household. Hey, Eric, welcome to the show. But as always, we're very busy in the DiVito household where, we've got 4 kids, an 18-year-old, a 15-year-old. We've got a 14-year-old and an 11-year-old. So we've got baseball. We've got, all these different things. My son, Matt, works at a grocery store, but he doesn't drive yet. So we drive him back and forth to work and just kind of, chilling and doing our thing. So, we're keeping busy with all that good stuff. But this weekend, I tried something new for the first time in a long time. And I went skiing, believe it or not. Hey, Slightly, welcome to the show. So for me, I haven't been on skis in probably 15 years. So it was kind of crazy. I haven't done it in a long time. And I was a lot more rusty than I expected because I was never great back in the day anyway. But we have a small ski mountain that's about 2,000 feet in elevation near my house. And we went skiing, and I ended up getting on, one of the smallest runs there. And did it a few times, and I was pretty shaky on skis. But the good news is, being at my advanced age, I did not fall. I did not break a hip. I did not get a concussion. I did not crash into a tree. I did not permanently injure myself. And Kaitlyn was there with us, right, Kate?
Yes.
Now, Kaitlyn, let me ask. This was kind of your first time skiing. What was your experience like?
I hated it.
Yeah, we got Kaitlyn up on skis, and Kaitlyn is someone that doesn't really like heights. And I guess mom and dad may have forced her into trying a little bit.
Okay, let me tell the story.
Okay, she just took the microphone, so good luck, everybody.
So what happened was that I told them probably close to 10 times that I did not want to go skiing, that I'm scared of heights, that I would have a panic attack, and I was forced to buy skis and go skiing. The first issue of the evening was that my ski boots were very, very uncomfortable, and I have sensory issues. So that was clearly a big problem. So I was complaining about my boots, and then my mom started yelling at me, and yeah, so that was the fun part. And then we had to go in, see if we could fix them. And they kind of did, but they still hurt. And so then I tried to go onto the hill. Well, yeah, it was pretty much a hill. It wasn't even like a run.
It was a small hill.
So I was first worried about the magic carpet because I thought that I was going to die, which I didn't die, but I came close to dying. And so then I tried to go down the hill. And of course, I didn't know how to turn. So I went down that little hill about 100 miles per hour, not being able to stop whatsoever, trying to go at a ski plow kind of thing, but I just couldn't stop. I couldn't stop. And so then I went right into the slush. And then I had a panic attack and decided that skiing was not for me.
All right. Now, let me give this from my perspective. This was kind of funny. Hey, Acon, welcome. We're talking about our skiing experience this past weekend. I skied for the first time in 15 years, and I'm worse than I remember that I was. My daughter, Kaitlyn, just spoke. We kind of forced her into skiing. And luckily now, I have to make this clear now. Did Dad yell at you?
No, Mom did.
Thank you. So I'm a good dad. I didn't yell. I did feel bad for you. But the funny part of the story was we got up on the small little beginner hill, okay? And I was behind Kaitlyn. My wife went first. So then Kaitlyn went in the middle. We figured we could kind of help her out as she went down. So I see Kaitlyn go, and here I am. I let her go a little bit, and she's going straight. So I start skiing down the run, and then I look down at Kaitlyn, and I see her literally going straight down this hill. Did not turn, did not snowplow.
I was trying.
Didn't know how to do it. She didn't know how to do it. So she went like a bat out of hell, full speed down this run, and she literally went into the exit of another bigger run where the snowboarders were coming down this run at like 90 miles an hour. So luckily, Kaitlyn timed it well, where she went in between exiting snowboarders.
Honestly, it looked pretty professional right there.
It did. It looked like you meant to do that, because if you had been a little bit earlier or a little bit later, you might have been taken out by a snowboarder.
Because I didn't know how to stop.
As I joked with her after, I mean, it wasn't really funny at the time, but as I joked with her afterwards, if we were on a bigger run and she kept going, I think she would have made it the 40 miles to Boston. So it's funny how you can turn a traumatic moment in life to kind of like a funny moment.
My butt was so wet because I literally just sat down in the snow and just started taking my boots off.
Yeah, she was done. So luckily we took 2 cars. I had to exit the mountain with Kaitlyn and bring her home.
Hey, but you volunteered because you were done too.
Yeah, honestly, my boots were hurting me too. And I think I remember now why I haven't skied in 15 years, because I honestly don't love it,
I pinched my poor pinky in the skis.
Yeah, so the DiVito first ski expedition wasn't a great one, but my 2 youngest really like it. My 2 youngest both snowboard. My wife, I think, had a good time. She skied, with Brandon and did all that. But I think Kaitlyn's done, Matt's done, and I'm going to suck it up this year because I already bought skis and bought the pass. But I don't know if I'm going to renew that pass next year. We'll see. We'll see how the rest of the season goes at this point. So, hey, everybody, just wondering, what are your plans for Thanksgiving? We're going to have kind of a light, fun show today. Hopefully no serious topics. I'd rather just kind of keep it light and not talk about all the problems in the world that we have right now. Personally, I'm excited for Thanksgiving. It's going to be a little bit different this year. We're not going to have our entire family with us for Thanksgiving because, of course, the pandemic. But, we're going to have a smaller get-together with probably just my immediate family. But we are going to be missing, the grandfathers. We're going to be missing Auntie Susan, most likely. How does that make you feel, Kate? Are you sad about that, or are you okay with it?
Well, I'm sad about some of it. I don't really love gigantic gatherings, so I'd rather it be smaller. But I'm sad that some of the people are not going to be there. So I really like seeing my Auntie Susan.
Right. I see Slightly Serious is in from California, and Slightly, the governor of California, I think, has just basically shut everything down and told people, nope, no Thanksgiving for you.
Ugh.
Well, that's what we get here in Massachusetts, and we have a lot in common. We're on opposite coasts, but we share the same government in Massachusetts and California. I mean, I have to say that the Mass and California have to be the 2 biggest liberal states in the country.
At least we can have plastic straws.
That's right. Oh, I'm so glad you brought that up. Those damn paper straws.
They're the worst things in the world.
Oh, I missed it. It looks like someone's looking to call in. Let me get this if I could. There we go. I almost missed you. I wasn't looking at the board. Hey, welcome to the show. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing good. How about y'all?
Doing very well. And let us get to the subject before we go to you guys, because Kaitlyn brought up a really good point. Plastic straws. I mean, paper straws are the worst. They started giving those out at some restaurants in Massachusetts
and in Florida when we went there.
And I get it. I get it. We want to save the planet. I want to live in a healthy planet also. I don't want, global warming, climate change, all that different things to affect our way of life like it has been. But damn it.
Hey, old man.
The one thing I can't deal with are the paper straws.
I just cannot.
They like disintegrate, you know.
I like the rubber ones and the metal ones you can get. I don't mind those, but the paper straws.
Yeah, you and Mom bought some metal straws. What happened to those?
They're over there. Those aren't bad at all. We
All
use
right.
those.
Yeah, so 2020, that's the one negative thing we're going to bring up today. No paper straws in the DeVito
Oh my
house.
God,
We're
I
getting
can't
rid of
do
those. Oh, they're terrible, right? Slightly.
Like you take 2 sips and then it's gone. It's gone.
Yeah, I don't love the metal ones either. I mean, but honestly, when I thought about it though, why do I even need a straw? I mean, when I'm home,
Right?
I don't use a
I can
straw.
just gulp it.
If I get a glass of soda at home, I don't use a straw. I just drink it. So I really don't need a straw.
Chug the whole
know?
thing anyway. So
Acon and Eric, welcome to the show. What's going on with you guys?
Well, I will say about metal straws, that is like an impalement waiting to happen.
you're right.
And I think paper straws taste like shit, so you might as well just stick with plastic straws.
I thankfully haven't had to be in a situation where I've had to use the paper straws. But I mean, I understand, we do got to be aware of our environment. We got to be a little more, self-conscious about how we're treating our planet. But I mean, there are a few things in life that you encounter where literally you just stare at the person like, what the hell? Like, I can understand the possible reasoning for wanting to maybe develop, things that, we use in our everyday life that maybe are more environment friendly, a little more common sense. But I mean, when you think about paper straws, it's kind of like, trying to put a fire out with more gasoline, in my opinion.
Exactly. I'm with you 100% on that. It's one of those things where, I mean, honestly, I'll go to a restaurant and we get our drinks and they serve the drinks with the paper straw. And it's almost just like, oh, really? I get to use this now?
I
And
just
then
look at it and drink it.
yeah, you're literally like halfway through the drink and the thing turns like the vapor.
Yeah, you're like,
Yeah.
is this cotton candy you're offering me to drink with?
Now, Acon, where are you from now? Where do you live?
I was born in New York and I was adopted at a very young age and raised in Texas. I just recently, a couple days ago, moved from the Fort Worth, Dallas area to Nacogdoches.
All right.
Wow.
So you grew up in New York. You live in Texas. Now, if you were in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, I believe the name of the place is Billy Bob's. I'm sure you've been there, right?
Yes.
Okay. I'm an East Coast guy through and through. Grew up in New Hampshire, live in Massachusetts, been to Texas many times, and I love Texas. If I was born in Texas, I would never leave. I think it's an amazing state. I love it. I had a good friend that moved to Dallas, and I went to visit him many times. One night, he decided that we, the East Coast guys, were going to go to Billy Bob's. So I don't know how to line dance. I don't know how to two-step. I've never ridden a mechanical bull. So I went to this place in my 20s, and we had a group of like 10 East Coast guys there. And the best part of the night, actually, before I get to the mechanical bull story, was that some girl came up and asked me to dance, which I was pretty psyched about. And she actually led and taught me how to two-step, which was kind of cool. I wasn't very good at it, but she was cute, so it worked. But then, we were getting drunk, having some drinks, having a good time, being like, young guys do. And we all decided, let's do the mechanical bull. So I was one of the first people up there. And I think it was something like you pay X amount of dollars and you get 3 rides or whatever it was.
Yeah.
So I get up on the back of it. And I mean, we were watching beforehand. And there were some damn cowboys riding this thing that could have been on like the pro bull riding circuit. They were like absolutely kicking ass. So I'm like, holy crap, look at these guys. So I'm gonna go. So I paid my money. I walked through the line, and the guy that ran the controls was standing right there. So I kind of leaned in so my friends couldn't hear him and said, "Hey, listen, man, I'm from the East Coast. I've never done this before. Take it easy on me, please." So he's like, "I got you, brother." I'm like, "All right, thank you." So I go around the corner, hop up on the mechanical bull. He starts off real slow. So I'm on this thing. And even in the first 10 seconds, it was hard. And he was going super slow. I'm like, holy crap. I mean, the thing was going way up in the air. So my friend starts screaming because after like probably 10 seconds, I hadn't fallen off yet. My friend starts screaming. So I give them the fist pump, which was a huge mistake on my part.
That's when he cranked up the speed, huh?
Oh, he spun that son of a bitch around in circles. And I literally flew off the mechanical bull, hit the padding, but then bounced off the padding and hit the floor in the wall.
Oh.
Yep. So I got up and I remember I walked over by the control guy because I had 2 rides left. He goes, "You want your next ride?" I'm like, "Nah, I'm good, man. Thanks."
Those mechanical bulls can be somewhat tricky because I know back in the day, sometimes me and my friends would go, like in our younger years, just to have a few drinks, hang out. And my friends were like, hey, we should try this. And I'm like, bro, like I can barely put on a sock without like, falling. So like, I really don't think I'm going to do this. And they're like, oh, come on, just try it. It'll be fun. And I'm like, yeah, okay. And, I'm like, 5'7", 124, like I'm a tiny chick, you know what I mean? So it's like, but by the time they said, okay, we're ready, I'm just like, yeah, okay, completely clueless. And within like the first couple seconds, like, the dude turns it up and like I'm flying.
Oh yeah. Once they crank that bad boy up, look out. It gets nasty. Even this morning, I went out into my garage this morning and I had to come back in through the door, the closed door into the house. So I went to turn the door handle and it didn't open, but I kept moving forward and literally everyone in the house heard this big thump. That was me slamming into the door because I didn't open the door and came in. So yeah, I'm the same way. I'm not exactly the most graceful, person in the world. And I think, honey, you take after me, right? Just a small bit.
You called me Crash. That should speak for
That's
itself.
right. That was your nickname when you were little, Crash. So what's going on in your life? What's happening out in Texas?
Oh man, we're having gorgeous weather for the past few days. It's been in like the high 70s where it almost feels like it's in the low 80s. It doesn't even feel like November, to be honest. It feels like springtime.
Texas gets really hot in the summer.
It does.
I was there 4th of July weekend. I remember we went to a baseball game at the old ballpark in Arlington. And oh my God, it was, I think, something like 114 during the day. And we went to the game at 9 o'clock at night. It was still 98 degrees out. And my buddy was working in radio at the time and he had no money. So he literally had a car in Texas with no air conditioning. So we were riding around this car, just dying in his car. But the coolest thing I ever saw at that ball game was in the 7th inning stretch. My buddy didn't tell me what they were going to do, but he's like, wait till you see what they do here in the 7th inning stretch. So I'm hanging. So 7th inning stretch, the game happens. That's when they blasted out "God Bless Texas." And, the whole stadium was singing. I was just like, oh my God, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen. It was so awesome.
One thing I can definitely say, because, thankfully at the age of 34, I can say that I've resided in, about 15 different states so far within the U.S. I've probably, traveled to maybe, over 20 different states within the U.S. And it's amazing how, like I always tell people, the state of Texas, it's its own world. It's its own country. We're very, very prideful with our state. We're prideful, of being Americans. We're very gun happy. So it's amazing how you can get so many diverse people, because even though they may be from the state, same state, they're still very diverse. They come from different backgrounds, different stories, different ways of life. So it's very, very cool to get so many people in one area that, have that pride of, where they're from and who they are, and it's just like, it's a blessing because of the fact of, when people are like, oh, you're from Texas, they're like, all my exes live in Texas. It's like, no, bro, everything in Texas is bigger and greater. Like, it has nothing to do with our exes. We just know we're awesome.
And I can't disagree with you. Texas is awesome. I haven't been everywhere in Texas, but I've been to Dallas a handful of times. I've been to Austin, which is kind of a cool city in itself, a little bit different than the rest of the state, I assume. But, Texas, now I don't know how much you know about the state of New Hampshire, but the state of New Hampshire, I've always called Little Texas until recently, because Massachusetts, unfortunately, has infected southern New Hampshire with its liberal leftism over the last decade or so. But, state of New Hampshire, the state motto, live free or die. No motorcycle helmet law, no seatbelt law. You don't need car insurance. Very easy to get a gun in the state of New Hampshire. And it was always very, very similar to Texas. So that's why I think growing up in that state, I've always felt that, kind of a kinship to Texas, but Texas is just awesome. I mean, like you said, it's such a big state.
It is.
There's a lot of pride in the state, which is amazing.
when you get to like mostly like, you know, kind of central and a little bit of like the southern area of the state, you know, that's where we got like most of our, you know, major cities and like our, you know, metropolitan areas. Toward like the north and the northwest, you know, you got like your desert areas, and then once you get more like to the eastern border of Texas and Louisiana, you know, you got all your swampland. You know, so it's really cool because it's like I always tell people, not only can we have every different change of season within 1 week, you know, if you want a different like terrain style, you know, you can literally travel from one side of the state to the other and see, you know, like completely different settings. So it's really awesome.
That's cool. No, I mean, you know, New England, you grew up in New York, but I assume you left there when you were relatively young.
Yes.
You know, New England's a cool place to live, except at this time of year, because the weather in the summer is beautiful. It's not super hot. Yeah, you do get into the 90s, but mostly, you know, it's 80s to like low 90s. The fall is absolutely beautiful.
I love the fall.
The fall is beautiful. The spring isn't bad either. You know, sometimes we get a lot of rain.
It's really rainy.
Yeah, sometimes it is.
But I mean, it's like still really beautiful because all the flowers are going.
The winter, though, if you don't like cold and you don't like snow, this is not. I mean, honest to God, at this time of year now, it's getting dark at 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Right.
So if you stay up till 10, you've been in darkness for 6 hours. and honestly, the temperatures. You know, even yesterday was in the low 30s. I mean, we are not going to see 70 degrees again probably till May at least.
Once you get into the heart of winter, it doesn't surpass 40 degrees.
Oh yeah, and again, we'll have days in January where it's minus 10 degrees with the wind chill minus 30. You go outside and it just stings your face even to be outside. And then a couple years ago, you know, we had 10 feet of snow in the town I live in, so our kids were literally sledding off the roof of our house.
Nice.
So it was. I mean, that was cool. I agree. I would have done the same thing if I had been younger. One of our neighbors called us to tell us they were sledding off the roof. And I guess, you know, kind of bad parenting. We didn't even know they were doing it, which is kind of terrible.
Thing is when the plow comes down our driveway and it makes that gigantic pile in the end of the driveway, and you can make like snow tunnels. That's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, the snow tunnels are always fun. So
yeah, well, see, I only lived in New York, you know, at a very young age. Like I was about 3-4 years old when I was adopted, and you know, got shipped to Texas. But my biological mother, her family is based out of like the New Jersey, you know, New York, Pennsylvania, those states. And when I located them again, thankfully, I don't even remember the private investigator's name, but a friend of mine on Facebook landed me on their page, you know, and I was able to find them, thankfully. And when I went up to New Jersey, it was funny because, you know, I grew up without snow. You know, so like I get up there and it starts snowing and I'm like, yes, this is awesome. I'm pelting coworkers and, you know, friends and, you know, people with snowballs, and they're like, dude, I hate you. Like, go back to where you're from. And I'm like, dude, this is awesome. You don't like it? And they're like, we're raised here. No.
Yeah. Now, it's for us even now, the first couple of snows are kind of cool. You're like, oh, it's snowing. Awesome. Then you fast forward to like the middle of January, in the middle of February. At that point, when cabin fever kicks in, I feel like Jack Nicholson in The Shining. You know, I'm ready to wipe out my whole family at that point. I've been trapped inside with it for like months on end.
Yeah, well, I'm the type of person where it's like, you know, in Texas, maybe we'll see like little snow flurries that don't even last an hour after they land, and I'm just like squealing like a 2-year-old, like, oh yay, this is awesome, you know. And it's just like I always tell people, like, man, I wish we got that type of a snow like y'all do up in the north in Texas. And everybody's just like, do not wish that upon us. Like, you know, like it's funny because people who are from Texas, like when we go to a lot of other states that have that type of snow, we're just like, get me out of here. Get me out of here. You know, we either can't drive or we don't like the cold or we don't like the snow. It's just, it's different to us because if we're not, you know, raised in that type of a climate, we're just kind of like, we're in shock a little bit, especially if we're not used to it.
Well, that was literally me this morning. I got up and I had to get downstairs and I'll go outside and let our chickens out. This is a new thing, a new COVID thing. We now have 9 chickens in our backyard. So I had to let them out of the coop. And of course, you know, now I'm one of those guys, even in January, it's going to be 3 degrees out, I'll have shorts on. And people will be like, what the hell's wrong with you? But, you know, when you're in the Northeast, honestly, 50 in the spring is like time to put the top down in your convertible.
Like,
you know?
I'm trying to think of when it actually becomes cold and when I actually have to, like, change my sweatshirt for a coat. And I think that marks probably around, like, 20 degrees.
Yeah, I think so. 20 degrees.
from sweatshirt to coat.
But I still wear shorts at that point. Unless it
It's still
gets
like
really
not
cold.
Like I could go outside in 30-degree weather without shoes on.
Yeah, so I go out.
People laugh at me in Texas because, like you said, it gets about to 114, in the temperature. And with me, part of it's because of the fact of I'm anemic. So, I get cold easily anyway with a slight breeze. So, growing up, people would look at me like I was nuts because here it is over 100 degrees and I'm in a hoodie wearing all black, just, walking down the sidewalk like, it's nothing. And they're like, you're not burning up, wearing those type of clothes. I'm like, no. And then, I move up to New Jersey and, it's freaking winter. And I'm just like, piling on the layers, and they're like, you're not from here, are you? And I was like, was it that obvious?
Well, that was like, I remember last year in Florida, we're out by the pool at night in Florida, and it's like 70 degrees out. So we're swimming in the pool, no shirts on, and the locals literally had like winter jackets on and pants. And we're just like, yeah, they're looking at us, and they know right away. That must be the Northeast. Yep.
Yeah.
Hey, thank you for the gifts, Eric. I appreciate that. Welcome to everybody coming in. Please share my live.
I think the applause is for me.
Oh, the applause? No, which one's the applause? Let me fix this here so we can get it straight here. Hold on. Sounds, and we'll give you applause. There you go. All right. I was telling the story earlier really quickly, and we're going to go to Crazy Kane in a second also to let him and Eric talk so we can all get a conversation going. But for those of you that just joined us, we did ski on Saturday. I did not break my hip, even though I'm an old man, and I am much worse at skiing than I remember. I think I had illusions of grandeur when I was thinking about my talent on the mountains. I was like, oh yeah, I skied at Sunday River. I've done these mountains. I couldn't even do the damn baby run.
I already knew that was
It was terrible. I was embarrassed.
I just figured I wouldn't tell you because you'd be like, no, I could do it.
But Kaitlyn, on the other hand, did not enjoy skiing. You want to tell your story one more time? All right, you don't have to. All right, you don't have to. Kaitlyn, on the bunny hill went like a bat out of hell, straight down the hill. And I thought she was going to die, literally.
So I think the best part was that I got no direction before I was told to just go down. I was just put the front of my skis together and everything will be okay. And you know what? I don't know how to turn. I don't know how to stop. I go down straight down like I don't even know what the hell I'm doing, which was true. I didn't. And I'm like trying to do that snowplow thing that my mom taught me, and it's not working. It's not working at all. And I'm just going straight down, and I cannot stop. And I'm like, oh boy, I'm going to fall. I'm going to die. I didn't fall, which really surprised me because I have absolutely no balance.
You are unbelievable. You literally, like I said, if the hill had been bigger, you would have gone all the way to Boston. I don't think you would have stopped. It was amazing. But then we had, these are one of these memories you don't put on Facebook. When you're bragging about your fake family. My kids are wonderful. They get straight A's. They're good at this. You don't post on there. My daughter almost killed herself and hated skiing. My wife yelled and screamed at her because she didn't ski. Then I had to drive her home.
Okay.
So
No. This is what mom said.
All right, go ahead.
So I'm like,
oh, mom's getting killed on Podbean.
I'm trying to get out of the slush that's at the end because they had to make the man-made snow. That's like it melts kind of easy. And so I'm like in the slush at the end of the run, and I'm like trying to climb myself out of there with my skis on. I'm like pushing forward, and I just keep sliding back. And mom's like, "Come on, you gotta come out. Come on, let's go again." And I'm like, I don't want to go again. I don't want to do that. I hate this. I want to go sit in the lodge. And mom's like, come on, you have to try again. I did not pay for this pass for nothing. You're coming back up this hill and you're going to learn how to turn. You're going to like it. I'm like, Mom, I don't want to do it.
That?
Yes, she did. And she keeps saying that she didn't say anything, that she's just like, come on, honey. I'm like, no.
See, now, as a father, I was about 20 feet away from them and I could see them having a conversation. So I decided to not ski over to them. I figured, okay, either she liked that and thought it was fun, or the two of them are fighting right now. And if they're fighting, they can tell me about it later, but I don't want to get in the middle of this fight. So it was a fight. That's what I assumed.
Yes. And I'm like, Mom, I'm having the beginnings of a panic attack. I would rather not go back up onto that mountain and have a full-blown one. Oh. And she's like, you're gonna do it. And I'm like, all right. And I just sit down and take my skis and boots off and walk away in the mud.
Oh,
you know what we should do? We're going to have to take our family Christmas card this year and put you in the picture with your skis on.
Oh, no.
All right. So, hey, everybody, kind of talking about some other things. We talked about Thanksgiving and Christmas coming up. We're really excited about that here. Before we get to Crazy Kane. Now, this is cool. We bought finally a new artificial Christmas tree. And I always said we'd never have artificial, but we have a pellet stove in our family room. For those that don't know what that is, it's similar to like a wood stove, but you use bags of like little wood pellets that you pour in, and one bag lasts a whole day, and it really heats up our whole house. So we had to have a pellet stove, and it was killing our live trees. So we can't do a live tree anymore.
Yeah,
Unfortunately,
we
thought we were going to burn the house down, literally. But we bought a new tree, and I didn't even know these exist. But the tree that we have now has a remote control, and the lights, you can set them so they go from white to colored and back to white and back to colored, and they alternate back and forth.
It's so pretty.
Now, maybe I'm a Gen Xer. I didn't realize that existed,
I didn't
but
know they existed either. I don't even know how the lights do that, but I love it.
so cool. I absolutely love that. So, hey, Crazy Kane, how you doing, brother? Sorry I waited a little while to get to you. How you doing, man? Crazy Kane, are you with us?
Kane, can you hear us?
Crazy Kane, can you hear us?
He's doing silent. That's awesome.
Oh, it looks like he's in the matrix a little bit. I can hear you a little bit.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we'll give you a second to get into a better cell. So, yeah, we can't hear you, brother. We'll give you a second to get back into a cell.
Go out and come back in. We'll see if that fixes it.
Yeah, Eric, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good today. Yourselves?
Doing well. Now, Ethan wants me to ask you. My son Ethan wants to know: are you guys ready for trivia tomorrow night? Are you going to improve on that third place?
I'm looking forward to it, of course. And I'm certainly looking forward to you doing those get to know your podcaster interview series with Cummings and Slightly and Dina Joe and Mr. Impact, and hopefully we can work on convincing Ralph and Cracks and Lara and Dennis Lee and Donald Wayne and Lingalonga and maybe a couple other podcast friends, to take part in that.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to these. I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but
and hopefully you can get in touch with Glenn and Mike from Gleich Beldner.
Yeah, I did write Glenn also, but I'm looking forward to doing this. I was trying to think of some new ideas. I mean, I've done, I think, 135 podcasts now, and you talk about the same things a lot of times. So I figured something that would be kind of cool is for all of us to get to know on a little bit deeper level some of the people that are doing podcasts, maybe are in the podcast all the time as listeners. So right now I have set up interviews with Cummings' Culture, which is going to be tomorrow at 12 o'clock. I'm going to have Slightly Serious on Wednesday at 12 o'clock. Friday, I'm going to have Dina Joe from the Old Man Show on at 12 o'clock. Yep. And then Saturday, I think it's at 3, if I remember correctly. I'm going to have Mr. Impact on. Now, Mr. Impact is a unique guy. He was a professional wrestler. He's a stuntman and an actor.
That's so cool.
Isn't that cool? So I'm going to try to get Eric on as well. I'd love to have him on so I could maybe take a deeper dive. But some of the things we're going to do is we're really going to take a deep dive into people's lives, ask them about, their childhood, the type of things they were interested in. Were they athletes? Were they not? Did they go to college? Did they not? What do you do now? Do you have families? So we're going to make an effort to really get to know some of the podcasters, because you hear our voices a lot on the air and you really don't know a lot about us, unless other than what we talk about. And, I've been kind of open about some of the things that I went through in my life. And again, if anyone else out there wants to come on, shoot me a quick email, send me a message on Twitter. I'll schedule a date with you to come on, even if you're a listener and you want to, get on and be interviewed. I think it's just cool for us all to get to know each other. Go ahead. We get to remain mysterious.
Can y'all hear me now?
Oh, there we go. Hey, Crazy Kane.
There you are.
There. How you doing, man?
Busy.
Yeah.
Packing.
Now, why are you packing? Where are you going?
I'm going to the West Bank of New Orleans.
Oh, are you really?
Oh, that's cool.
Wow. Is this a vacation or are you just going for Thanksgiving?
Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Oh, that's nice.
Awesome.
Are you going to be staying for that entire time?
No.
Okay. So are you going to visit family?
Otherwise, Crazy will not be able to talk to anybody because Crazy will be doing time.
Well, we're going to miss you, Crazy. I mean, I like having you come into my podcast. Now, I remember I was in one of your shows about a week ago, and you were talking about you wanted to spend some more time with your family. Is that what you're looking to do?
The good ones, yes.
The good ones. That's true, though, isn't it?
That makes sense,
There's the good and the bad. I hear that. I think everybody has that.
That's why I like to call
Yeah.
the good ones.
Let me put it this way. Me and my family are the black sheep. And it's like a half-Phil McCoy situation. Only
Really?
difference is we didn't spill blood yet.
Oh, boy.
Crazy would like to keep that from happening.
I was going to say yet. That's kind of scary. Let's keep that yet in action.
Yeah.
I don't want to be reporting next Monday. Oh, we heard from Crazy Kane. Unfortunately, that Hatfield McCoy situation escalated.
That happens with
Oh man! So now, why is your family the black sheep of the family? Explain to me why that is.
Me and my brother were called favorites out of all the grandkids.
Okay.
My parents wasn't charged babysitting fees, but my grandparents asked me and my brother to do things, and we wasn't asking for stuff back. And my grandparents, in return, did what grandparents do. They took us places. They took us out of state. They took me and my brother to Las Vegas. They took us to California.
Nice.
Wow.
I mean, there's a lot of jealousy and hate.
That's what it sounds like, yeah.
Well, you have that everywhere in every aspect of life.
You're not alone.
Well, Crazy Kane, let me tell you.
And
Go ahead.
It's been like that since I was yay
That's terrible.
tall. I'm also one of the only grandkids that got their feet prints in the concrete at the grandparents' house when they were laying concrete. Don't remember it, but yeah, it was kind of like the Hollywood stars in a sense.
I love that idea. That's a great idea.
Cute.
Wish we had thought of that. That's a good idea. We get that in our family too, Crazy Kane. For me and my wife, we both come from very similar families where our parents were probably, I guess, middle class or lower middle class. And, neither one of our parents had a lot of money. I mean, we did okay. We had a house and we had food and we had what we needed. But, my wife is definitely an overachiever. She works her ass off. She's a workaholic. She's a doctor. She put herself through medical school, put herself through Boston University, and is really, the type of doctor that anybody would want to go to because she really cares about the people that come in to see her, and her patients know that. And for me too, I've had a good career. I've done well in my life. So I guess you could say that we've done well in our lives, but we're both educated, and we have a lot of members of our family maybe that haven't gone that particular route. And we heard rumors that a handful of members from our family were calling us the educated assholes because we went and got our degrees, and my wife's a doctor. Now, my wife works at a community health center. She helps people that have drug problems. She runs a Suboxone clinic, gets people off of drugs. She helps the underserved population, and she's very, very, very good at what she does. I mean, she really cares about her patients. When someone dies, I mean, she comes home and cries. I mean, she cares, and it really hurt when we heard our family because she and I have tried so hard to be as good as we can be in our lives, and to hear people call us the educated assholes, it just absolutely really broke our heart. But we were like, you know what? It is what it is. And I guess that's just the way it's going to be with some family members, so
people are just jealous.
People get jealous.
It's not going to change. And you just have to learn to kind of develop thick skin and get over it, Yeah,
Acon, do you deal with that in your family at all?
Oh, many, 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 many years throughout my life, I have dealt with that type of family situation because my parents, my adoptive parents, they were married, and then, they adopted me, and then, the craziness kind of hit the fan, my parents split up, and it's weird because after my parents split up, I kind of saw, the change just within my family as a whole, like we didn't really have the family get-togethers, that we would have when I was, really young. We wouldn't have, the family holidays where all of us, would get together in one spot. And it's sad when, the littlest thing can make, family split apart, lose communication, judge one another, because my cousins and me, when we were growing up, my cousins were kind of put on this little pedestal thinking, oh, hey, we're the good kids of the family, we never do any trouble, da 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 da. And it's like, like you shouldn't treat family like, you're better than each other or you're worse than each other, and it's sad because me and my cousins, we were never close. even now, I probably haven't talked to any of my cousins in over 20 years.
Hey, Sinister.
Really sad.
And I think that's happened in our family a little bit too, for, I guess, a little bit different scenarios, but we used to have big family get-togethers. Now, my family, I come from a smaller family, but my wife has a really, really big family, and we haven't really had those family get-togethers in quite some time. Like, we get together with maybe small sections or elements of the family.
And it's at that point where I feel like I don't know any of them.
Right, and it's sad.
It's really not how it should be,
I know. I mean, I would really like to have a closer relationship with the family, but we did move away from the family. We live an hour and a half away, and for a lot of them it's like living on the other side of the earth. But I think for a lot of people, Thanksgiving and Christmas coming up, those should be happy times for families, but I think a lot of times they become very stressful times for families, because you end up getting thrown back in with family members maybe that you have disputes with, or
maybe they're toxic and they're just not good for you to be around, and I feel like that's really hard for a lot of families to go through.
It is. I mean, that's why, this year I'm looking forward to, my wife is, as I mentioned, in healthcare, and she's a COVID Nazi. So we are most likely, she is, I can admit it. And we're going to be having just the 6 of us at Thanksgiving, which kind of makes me sad, because we're not going to have our dads here. We're not going to have my sister here, but we're going to, try to make the best of it. And we kind of are forced into doing this because my oldest son, Matt, was diagnosed with COVID. And as some of you know who listen to my show, Matt has autism, and he's an actor. He's been in 10 plays and finally got his first movie on Netflix. And this was a killer, because when we put our names in for the movie, we didn't know who was in the movie. It was just called a Netflix project, but we were told it was going to be big. So then we heard the name of the movie, which is called Don't Look Up. And Leonardo DiCaprio was the star, Jennifer Lawrence, Meryl Streep, Kate Blanchett, Jonah Hill, Ariana Grande, a huge cast of people. We were supposed to be on the set Friday and Saturday, and we got bumped because Matt had COVID. So he was pretty disappointed. But that's part of the reason why we're not having family members over also, is because Matt had COVID, and we don't want to risk. We don't want to kill our relatives. But let me ask you, for the people in the chat, what are you doing for Thanksgiving? Are you excited for Christmas? Should we be, putting up Christmas trees and decorations before Thanksgiving? Because we've never done that before.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah.
Usually we do it Thanksgiving night. We're not going to be able to do that at our house until we return, but we're going to be doing that at my grandma's house, who's going to be turning 85 next week. And then tragedy, because I'm going to be saying goodbye to my 20s.
Oh, so you're going to be 30. Well, let me tell you, Crazy Kane, I'll trade with you in a heartbeat, because I said goodbye to my 40s. And, I got to say, though, I mean, my 50s haven't been too bad so far, but my 30s and 40s were 2 really good decades. The 20s, I think, are a very, very difficult time to go through. For me anyway. When I was in my 20s, I was still trying to figure myself out. I thought that I had missed certain opportunities that now I couldn't go back and fix. And I think by the time you get to 30, you start accepting yourself a little bit more. You start being more comfortable in your own skin. And I think that increases throughout your 30s into your 40s. So honestly, I don't know if I want to get back into my 20s again. It was a tough time.
I want someone to get me out of my teen years as fast as I freaking can.
Yeah, Kaitlyn, well, she's right in the middle of it. She's 15 years old. And for all of you that remember,
don't rush.
15 years old.
Don't rush, definitely.
I hate it.
I know.
hate teen years. I'm done.
Kaitlyn's been through a lot in her teen years, and we won't go down that road, but she's definitely ready, I think, to move on and hopefully get into, I guess, a time frame where maybe people appreciate her intelligence a little bit more.
Let's be honest, I'm too mature to be a teenager.
She is, honestly. Kaitlyn's 15. She's an old soul, and she's very smart, and she doesn't really fit in sometimes with some of that, I don't know, stupid teen behavior, I guess, that I did.
Stupid.
Yeah, I know. But
Crazy gets told the same thing. It's okay. Just don't rush it.
So who's excited for Christmas music? Who's excited for Christmas music? Old Man was talked about that this morning.
Yeah.
I can honestly say, Christmas music, I think there's only so much that any, musician or artist can really do, because once you do the same Christmas song in 5 different variations, you really can't do much else with it. And I remember back in October, and this was like before Halloween. I want to say like the week before Halloween. Some of my coworkers started playing Christmas music, and I hid the Christmas CD from them. I took it out of the thing and I hid it. I was like, bro, it's not even Halloween. Like, we haven't even come upon November, and you're wanting to play the same Mariah Carey song like 5 times in a row. I said, this is not going to happen.
I hate that.
I'm so.
I have a burning hatred for that.
That could be my least favorite song. I've never been a huge Mariah Carey fan, but did you know I looked up the information because they literally play that song every 10 minutes. And she has made, I think it was $50 million off of that one song.
Yeah, I mean that's crazy because they're. Hi, John. And Aimee says hello, John.
Hey, how you doing, Aimee? What's going on?
She's getting busy, getting started with her day, and so she's kind of she's kind of a little scatterbrained right now.
Aimee, I wouldn't believe that in a second. No way. But you know, one of my favorite Christmas song people. Have you guys ever heard "Oh Holy Night" by Josh Groban?
Yes.
Oh my!
Yes.
He has got the most beautiful voice I think I've ever heard in my life.
I think that song and maybe Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer is another. And it's funny.
Yeah.
It's funny because that story I remember before my parents divorced. Whenever we would go, check in on my grandparents, for the holidays. And anytime that song came on the radio, I could feel the hatred from my mom's eyes as she would glare at me from the mirror because of the fact of, me and my dad would be belting out, "Grandma got run over by a reindeer." And my mom's like, if Grandma dies, y'all are going to be really, really sad singing this song. And I'm just like, glancing, and it's like, I'd be sad if my grandma dies, but, it's just a song. Like, it's in no relation. And she's like, my mom would just be so, like, appalled that me and my dad would just get down into the song, jamming out.
We do too. I love that song. I also love the 2 other ones. The Bruce Springsteen song. I can't think of Santa Claus is Coming to Town by Springsteen. And then what's the other one? Rigging Up Those Damn Lights, the 12 Days of Christmas.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I know that song.
That song comes on.
It's kind of like a spoof of like the 12 Days of Christmas, like the 12 things that pang me at Christmas.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's such a funny song. But I mean, I do like Christmas songs, but I do try to stick by the rule where I don't listen until after Thanksgiving. We literally had one. We had one that started playing right after Halloween. 96.1 USRS started playing right after Halloween. And I love Christmas music, but I can't listen to it for like 2 months.
I'd love to hear like new Christmas songs.
Well, if you ever in the Crazy Kane Asylum,
which I have
around like the little Crazy Kane Asylum, not podcast show. If you ever come around the asylum in October, there's 2 guarantees. 1, you're gonna hear lots of Halloween music. 2, you'll hear a lot of Christmas music. Why? Because I am a huge Nightmare Before Christmas person.
Yes.
Huge.
Oh, okay. I like that too. Now, Sinister.
Hence the face.
You know what I gotta do? I gotta figure out how to record that laugh so I can put it on my soundboard. I absolutely love that.
Sorry, John. Someone beat you to it, and they caught all 3.
Oh man!
Oh man!
And that person happened to be Homeboy 88.
Oh, Homeboy's a beast. If anyone's gonna do it, it's Homeboy. That's awesome. I love Homeboy.
But he did send me to the person that helped him, and I do have that recorded laugh on my phone in my MP3.
Oh, can you send that to me if I give you my phone number?
I don't know how to send out because it was emailed to me.
You can email.
So
just forward me the email. If you could send the email on to me, I'll put it on my soundboard and I'll totally use that. I love the laugh. So if you
It's funny talk about Christmas music because I remember when Aimee and myself, when we were at the boarding school during Christmas time, we'd go all out. And I remember there was a brief time for Christmas where they actually had some like sponsors that, they would try to get to donate money to the school. And I remember, us being the kids that we were, we would have to put on this like angelic facade. Well, whenever the staff wouldn't pay attention, we would get together and we'd be like, Revelation, 2015, 2015, liars go to hell, burn, 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 burn. And we would sing it, and these people would kind of look at us like, what in the world is really going on here? Because they didn't know after that if they like wanted to donate any money to the schools or if they just wanted to like quickly get out of there, So it's just funny because of the fact of, having that memory pop to mind. We're all at, a fundamental Baptist boarding school, and we're singing this song around Christmas time, and it was one of the most hilarious moments I think I ever saw in an outsider's face that would come into the school not knowing what was going on.
Well, I'm so glad we were able to do another show last night. I don't know if you saw what I did, but I took all 4 shows and put them in one post, and now I've promoted that again in Missouri. So those all 4 shows are going to be everywhere. And I talked in the post, not that I don't want to go too far into this, but I talked in the post about, again, these are 4 shows with 16 ex-students representing 3 to 4 decades of people that are all telling the same story. So we'll see how they argue the way out of that one. But
they're never going to be able to argue themselves out of it. I mean, for centuries and decades, you have these people that are doing these things, manipulating, adults and parents and, treating children the way that they are. And it's like, eventually they got to realize that at some point they're going to stand so far in between a rock and a hard place that, they're going to have to suffer the consequences for, their evil actions. And it's just like I want to say, one thing about the evilness of, this world, whether it has to do with the individuals that are unfortunately still running these, schools or, these establishments. Like, I'm thankful that, I did go through what I went through because of the fact of, one, it taught me to be aware of that type of an evilness, and it humbled me because of the fact of, instead of choosing to, encourage, the evil, it taught me to want to fight it and, be thankful that there are people, like Aimee and the other survivors, Alan, Noel, Colton, Amanda, Emily, so many people, we can come together and, spread love and spread hope and spread goodness, and give the people that are still suffering that hope that, we're doing this so eventually they can be free and they don't have to live in fear anymore.
Yeah, what all you guys did was amazing. You're very brave people. And what you're going to do is you are going to help the people that have had issues in the past get the closure that they need. And you're going to be protecting future generations of children that will no longer be subject to these type of places. So you've done a great job. And I'm glad, that I was able to do my small part in helping. And I'm looking forward.
I mean, like it's one thing I want to tell people, whether they're just becoming aware, or they've been aware. It's one of those things where it's mind blowing. It's crazy to think that type of an evil would even exist, but it does. And I love the fact that people are starting to show more interest and they're wanting to learn, and they're wanting to help spread the word, about this, because it's like, y'all are kind of like part of that safety net for us because of the fact of y'all make us aware that, yes, what we went through is real. Yes, there are people that aren't aware that need that awareness, and it's awesome because y'all choosing to be that type of a support system for us also gives us kind of that faith in humanity that for a very long time none of us really had. We didn't feel like we had an outlet to turn to. We felt like we didn't have people that we could lean on for support, and just knowing that y'all are helping us spread that word, getting that awareness out, that's given us so much more hope, given us so much more to be thankful for, in this fight, because it's a very big ordeal. It's not something that, won't just go away overnight. So we need, that extra help, not just for our own sanity, but, for the rest of the world.
It's so nice to have people believe us.
Yeah.
My heart.
Yeah, this none of this would have happened with my involvement unless my daughter Kaitlyn had told me about what was going on. Let me have Kaitlyn kind of tell you about how she learned about this and how she passed it on to me.
So basically, I was on TikTok and I was just kind of scrolling through my For You page because I had nothing else better to do. And I had this video from Amanda pop up on my For You page, and my heart just absolutely dropped at what I saw. I was like, this is awful. This can't be real. And so I went through her entire page, and I honestly just kept feeling worse and worse. And I could not believe that this was happening to children, and this had happened to people. And it honestly just made me feel so scared and so almost guilty that had happened and people had let that happen to those poor children, and they absolutely did not deserve it and did not deserve to not feel validated for that. Having people tell them that it didn't happen, that they're lying. They do not deserve that. Nobody deserves having to feel like that. And I know that I felt like that before, and it's the absolute worst feeling that you could ever have, to feel like nobody believes you and that what you're saying isn't true, when you know deep inside of you that it is, and that stuff happened to you and that stuff is happening to others. And it's awful. And I feel like being able to even help with it a little bit, to have people feel better, having people feel like that they mean something and that they are doing a good thing to help out others, and that their truth is their truth and that no one can take that away from them. I feel like it makes me feel so much better that these people are finally getting the help that they deserve.
Yeah, and it's crazy. It really is, because it's like, when people hear our stories, I think it's not that people don't want to believe us. It's just it's hard when they've never had any part of their reality affected by that. They've never seen it.
That was
they've
me.
never. Yeah,
I had no idea. I had no idea when Kaitlyn came down and told me. I started looking into it, and then I got in contact with Amanda, and she and I went back and forth, and then we started with the Circle of Hope. And I had no idea that these type of schools existed. I had no idea that this type of abuse was allowed. I did not know, at 52 years old, I did not know these type of places existed. And when I heard that, I mean, I'm a father of 4, and, I've seen all of my kids go through different things. And I know that, there are a lot of kids out there that need help. This literally broke my heart, and I wanted to do whatever I could to help. I had just gotten, doing the Pamela Smart interviews, where I had Diane Diamond from Entertainment Tonight on my show and some big people. And I started to realize, I was still kind of searching for the meaning, I guess, of my podcast, because I was a broadcasting major back in college. I never went into broadcasting. And, back in the day, I wanted to be the next Howard Stern. I'm now in a different place in my life where that doesn't interest me anymore. So, I figure I like doing lighthearted, fun shows, but if there's a cause that I can help with and something I can do, then I want to get involved and I want to make a difference. I want to make a positive, significant difference in the lives of maybe people that need help. And that makes me, when my head hits the pillow at night, it makes me feel good about myself. It makes me realize that I'm doing something to benefit other people. And, even at night now, like I'm not an active member of any church. I was a Catholic growing up. I do believe in God. I do believe in a higher power. I believe in having a spiritual one-on-one relationship with my God. And every night when my head hits the pillow, the first thing I do is pray. And I always pray for other people. I pray for my family. I pray for my wife's family. I pray for my friends, my children. I pray for the people that I don't like. I pray for everybody. And then the other night, I finally decided, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to sit down tonight and I'm going to pray for myself a little bit. I never ask for anything for myself, and I'm going to kind of ask the big man upstairs if maybe, I can have some favor. So I literally started praying for myself, and the first thing I asked for was, I want to have a long, healthy, happy life. And then I started thinking, what's next on the list? And I started to think about it. I have a fantastic wife. I've got 4 kids that I love and I'm very proud of. I've got a place to live. I've got food. I've got a job. When it really came down to it, I don't need anything. I don't want anything. And I'm happy with where I am now. So I guess for me, it took me a very, very, very long time to get here. Don't think I've always been this way. In my 20s and 30s, there were times where I drank too much. I did drugs. I was unhappy. I felt unfulfilled. I felt like I had missed opportunities in my life, and I was never going to be anything. But, finally, I somehow found the courage to pull things together. Whoa, way to go, brother. I like those lungs. Who is that? Get him on the air. I want to talk to him. But anyway, so I mean, for all of you out there, that's what my show's about, and that's what I want it to be. And I'm glad that I was able to help people with this. And I understand there's another school now that we're going to be talking about called Wings of Faith. So that's another school now that we're going to go after. We've blown the doors off of Agape. So tell us a little bit about that.
Wings of Faith is the sister school of the Agape, and
That's big. That's been in 5 states.
it's a very big establishment within 5 different states, and they've moved and expanded, and even Aimee made a comment because that was my first time going to Wings of Faith personally in Missouri, because like I said, once I got out in Mountain Park, I spent 2 years again with my family, and then I bolted. I got out as quick as I could, but it's another one of those schools where they're trying to act like they're warriors of God when really they're just warriors of evil. I mean, they're torturing these kids. There's this girl by the name of Rachel Kelso, whom is actually missing. Nobody knows where she's at. Her family's been searching for her.
Lloyd actually said she went home and that she was writing letters back to them, and nobody could find her. Lloyd.
Yeah, you guys are breaking up a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, matrixing.
Individuals at that school, doing these things to these kids, and so it's one of those things where it's like, if they're so terrified, these people are so terrified that the fact that society is actually something that.
Hey, Acon, we're losing your signal a little bit. We can't hear you. Yeah, we're losing you. We can't hear you.
Anyway, that's absolutely terrible.
All right, hey, let's go over to Eric a little bit while we're waiting for Acon to come back, and Eric and Kane. So it looks like she dropped off there with her phone. So, hey, let's get back a little bit to some of the stuff we were talking about too. I think, are you still there? Yeah, I think you may have to call back in. So anyway, we were talking about some other things also. I'm glad that Acon got a chance to call in, and we are going to be looking into the Wings of Faith and things like that. But I also don't want to lose track of some of the things we were talking about earlier. Where
happy things.
Yeah, happy things. We've got Thanksgiving and Christmas coming up. I'm looking forward to both, and Thanksgiving is going to be a nice day for us to be with our immediate family.
I am looking forward to doing a ton of baking with Mom on Tuesday.
Now, I think you and Mom should bake a lot, so that means I can eat a lot.
I think that sounds like I also
Right? Am I wrong, guys? And if they bake a lot, then I can eat a lot, and then everyone's happy.
As long as you don't walk by and stick your dirty fingers in the batter, you'll be okay.
Oh, I never do that.
Oh, yes, you do.
All right, maybe I do. Oh, my God. But no, I do love this time of year. And I wish, Christmas time, or whatever you celebrate. I'm sure we've got some Jewish friends that celebrate Hanukkah. There's Kwanzaa. There's a lot of different things that people celebrate. And for me, I think it's great that people have, something to celebrate. But for me, Christmas time is such a nice time of the year when people do seem like they go out of the way to care about others. It's a time when, you try to put things behind you that have happened in the past negatively.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it's just a good time of the year, but it is also a stressful time of the year. And I had asked about Christmas songs earlier. I am going to be doing some all music Christmas shows coming up. And I'm not going to do it until after Thanksgiving, though. I'm going to wait till after Thanksgiving. But I've got one heck of a list of Christmas songs that are some of my personal favorites. So hopefully some of you will all tune in when I do those shows.
I really think that you should sing us a Christmas song right now.
You want me to sing a Christmas song? My problem is I don't know the words to these songs.
Hey, Dina.
Dina Joe. Okay, yeah, I don't know any words, though. I'm terrible with that.
What about like Frosty the Snowman?
I have the worst singing voice on the face of the earth.
I know.
I don't even know the words to Frosty the Snowman.
Come on, you don't know the words to Frosty the Snowman.
Hi, Dina Joe. They're trying to get me to sing a Christmas song, and I have a terrible voice. let me mention this first. Then maybe if you can find me the words to a song, I will sing it. So you got to find me something on your phone. But yeah, I want to mention the Sinister. I'd like to add you to the show list that I've got going on. I'm starting a podcast series called Getting to Know Your Podcasters. And so far, coming up, I've got tomorrow, Cummings is Culture is going to be on at 12 o'clock Eastern time. Wednesday, we're going to interview Slightly Serious. And Slightly Serious also will be at 12 o'clock on Wednesday. Then we also have coming up on Friday, we're going to be interviewing Dina Joe from the Old Man Podcast. And then on Saturday in the afternoon, we're going to be interviewing Mr. Impact and learning more about his life. And the whole purpose of these shows is going to be for us to get to know our podcasters a little bit better. We're going to ask them about their life, ask them about where they grew up, what they did as kids, were they baseball players, were they in the band, did they go to college, did they work, did they own a business, do they have families now? So we're going to really ask a lot of deep questions of our podcasters. And also, if there are any listeners out there that want to be a part of it, shoot me an email.
Yeah, sorry guys, I had issue with my phone. I'm using Aimee's right now.
Yeah, and you guys have got to mute a little bit. It's really loud. So can you guys mute that? We're getting a lot of feedback until we get back to you.
Yeah, sorry.
Well, Billy just came into the studio under the Loot Skunk's name.
Okay, there we go. So I think, yeah. All right, so so if anybody does want to come on the podcast and wants to be interviewed, I'm looking to get some information out there. Send it to Breed if you want to be on. If anybody else is interested, shoot me an email. Let me know that you're interested and available to tell your life story, and I will ask you all the questions. And again, if there's certain things you don't want to answer, that's cool. I'm not going to push on things. Shoot me a text, Sinister, and we'll come up with a date. I've got most of this week is filled right now, but I can get you on probably next week. I want to do these for a few weeks because I was looking for something new to do. Yeah. And just to kind of come up with a different show idea because I was getting kind of bored with doing the same thing every week. But I thought this was kind of a cool idea. So, all right, now Kaitlyn actually had. Oh my God, hold on now. Kaitlyn actually has words in front of me. Now you have to sing with me. All right, so Kaitlyn, I have the worst singing voice on the face of the earth, and you guys have to promise not to mock me. And we're having some feedback, so if you're not talking, please mute your phones if you could.
I encourage you to sing along with each other.
All right, now, are you going to sing with me?
I will.
All right, I can't sing at all, so bear with me. You might want to turn the volume down if you have it turned up high. I have a speaking voice that's pretty good, but as far as a singing voice, you get over here. You're going to sing with me.
I'm here.
All right, so this is our first Christmas song, and we're going to sing it, and I'm sorry in advance. Okay, here we go. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Frosty the Snowman was a jolly, happy soul with a corncob pipe and a button nose and his 2 eyes made out of coal. Jeez, I'm bad. Frosty the Snowman is a fairy tale, they say. He was made of snow, but the children know how he came to life one day. There must have been some magic in that old silk hat they found. But when they placed it on his head, he began to dance around. Oh, Frosty the Snowman moved the words down, was alive as he could be. And the children say he could laugh and play, just the same as you and me. Uh-oh. Thumpity thump thump, thumpity thump thump, look at Frosty go. Thumpity thump thump, thumpity thump thump, over the hills of snow. There we go. All right, I'm sorry, everybody. I know that was horrible.
That was awesome.
That was very good.
Thank you very much.
And I know, like, on Old Man's Show this morning, we talked about, like, movies that had, like, the Christmas setting and movies that basically had the Christmas theme in general. And we named off movies like A Christmas Story, Christmas Vacation.
Why Die Hard? I don't get that. Everyone says Die Hard. Christmas film.
I know they've never really recognized it as a Christmas movie, even though it was set at Christmas time.
Hey, Billy.
And one of the Lethal Weapon movies was the same way too. And then Prancer, I mean, that was a really good movie. And the Polar Express, but we know A Christmas Story is not going to be Slightly's favorite because of Little Orphan Annie. Of course, she said the O word that Slightly doesn't like.
Oh boy. Okay, I get that. Now, my favorite Christmas movie of all time, I have different categories. So as far as Christmas stories go, if you're looking sentimental, I have a lot of movies I like, but by far, mine, without a doubt, is It's a Wonderful Life with Jimmy Stewart. That is by far my favorite movie because, I remember a time in my life when he was sitting at that bar and he felt like he was out of ideas. His life just wasn't going the way he expected. I was, I think, at a point in my life where I saw that for the first time. And I remember that kind of really hit home with me. So It's a Wonderful Life is definitely one of my absolute favoriits. And then as far as like comedy, I would say my two favorites have to be Christmas Vacation and then Elf.
I love Christmas Story.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh, Ralphie.
how about you guys? Oh yeah, Christmas Story. That's good too. You're gonna shoot your eye out. How about the rest of you? How about people that are on the phones right now and people in the chat? What are your favorites? Favorite Christmas movie?
Oh man, honestly, I really don't have a favorite.
Vegas Vacation. I love that movie. Papa Giorgio. I love that movie.
Really the only reason I really get into Christmas is because of my kids. But I mean, other than that, I've never really been a big like, oh hey, it's Christmas, let's go nuts and decorate the entire street with Christmas lights. I don't know. Halloween's always been one of my favorites. So I guess if I have to pick a Christmas movie, it's got to be, Nightmare Before Christmas.
Okay, that's a good one too. Now Sinister Breed. I think you're in here. Maybe it's Billy is in here right now. But I want to throw this out here for Sinister Breed. How about Silent Night, Deadly Night, the only Halloween Christmas movie? And I'm an old bastard, but I remember when this came out in the theaters. Silent Night, Deadly Night literally came out in the movie theaters. And they pulled it out of the movie theaters because it was so controversial. Santa Claus was killing everybody. He was the killer. So you can find it now. But that was such a dark movie,
A new one.
I like what Sinister is saying. Christmas destruction on Chuck and Billy's Not Your Cup of Tea. And Billy's like, can't wait to destroy Christmas.
We're going to have to tune in that one. Can't wait to destroy it. Now, the other night when you guys were on, I had Kaitlyn had the headphones on too, and she was listening, and she was laughing her ass off. Now, did you talk? I think you might have said a few things too, right? Yeah. But, that was funny. So, I mean,
I'm generally not good at coming off funny things off the top of my head. So,
no, again, if you guys haven't heard Chuck and Billy's Not Your Cup of Tea podcast, it's completely inappropriate. It's not PC, but it's funny as hell. So if you get a chance and you don't mind being offended, get in there and give it a listen. It's really a funny show.
And the thing about Chuck and Billy is I think they would be great candidates for Slightly's Last Wednesday show. But I'm sure they're going to probably say some things. And if they say Little Orphan Annie's like, O word, then that would definitely get a big lashing.
I don't even know what that means.
I know. I hear you. Well, for me, I mean, Christmas again is a good time of the year for me. But I would agree. Probably, I would say Halloween is probably my favorite. But Thanksgiving is probably my second favorite because there's no material possessions associated with that. I kind of like just the family time, all that stuff. But I do like Christmas too. I do get into it. But I will admit, as a parent, it becomes more stressful because you have a lot of shit you're going to get done. And I got to say, I'm not terribly unhappy that we have no more believers in it, because I'll tell you one thing. As a parent, there is nothing worse in this world than laying in your bed at like 11 o'clock at night, being nice and warm and comfortable, and then realizing you forgot to move that fucking elf. Oh my God, the elf on the shelf. That was the worst thing we ever introduced. And now that we have no believers, I think
that's very dangerous in Crazy Kane's house. Karma has struck with elf on the
It's
shelf.
funny because I saw this meme on Facebook. It was last night, actually, where it was a picture of this skeleton of the elf with the hat still on and a letter from Santa saying, the elf on the shelf was a wonderful delight and, he ate the cookies for dessert.
Well,
I saw this really cool. I was in this little bar, and it said the elf at the quarantined for 14 days because they left from the North Pole.
That's a good idea. That's not a bad idea that you can just stick them in the damn thing, quarantine them. But I still remember, you want to hear a funny story from when our kids were little. Kaitlyn, as we've talked about, has always been very mature. When she was little, she was like a 20-year-old when she was 4. And I still remember one Christmas, my wife and I, we got 4 kids. We had to bring all of our presents down in the basement. And we had actually set the door up in the basement so you could lock it from the basement so the kids wouldn't fall down the stairs when they were little. So we would go down to the basement. We would lock that door so they couldn't come down, and we'd wrap presents. We'd have a shitload of presents we had to wrap. So we're wrapping presents, getting a lot of shit done. And then all of a sudden, we look over in the corner of the basement, and there are these little small windows in our basement. And we see Kaitlyn's little teeny face looking through the window of the basement down at my wife and I with presents everywhere, wrapping paper everywhere. He had to be like 5 years old. So at that point, we look up and we see her, and she runs away. And so I come upstairs, we look for what she saw. Hey, there's a lot of feedback, guys. I'm not sure who that is, but try to mute if you could. I don't know if that's Eric or whoever.
I don't know if you, John, have the ability to mute callers on your end or not.
No, I don't think I can.
Somebody was trying to call me.
I think we lost Crazy. But anyway, so just to go on with the story, we look out the window, we see Kaitlyn. So Kaitlyn runs away. I run into the house, and Kaitlyn's up in her room. So I walk upstairs. And again, we're on a fact-finding mission. What did you see? What didn't you see? So she looks at me and she goes, I saw the whole thing. And I'm like, what did you see? And she's like, all the presents were downstairs. You and Mom were wrapping them. And I looked at her and said, no, honey, you got it wrong. There's a school in town of children that don't have presents. And Santa Claus, because they're not home, doesn't know how to find them. So we bought presents. We're going to wrap them and deliver them to these children. These have nothing to do with you. And I remember kind of looking at her. She looked back at me and she smiled and she went, oh, okay. So she completely bought it, as far as I know. Did you really buy it, or were you still skeptical?
I feel as though in my small
Are you wanting to go door dashing with me, or you want me to take you back to the house? Do what? Okay.
So we did believe it. All right. So, Eric, what's going on with the rest of today? You get a bunch of other shows coming up. What else is happening?
Well, we definitely could always say to be on the lookout for VOP USA to do any impromptu shows here on Podbean in the meantime. And I think Chuck and Billy should have their show tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern, and I'm here for the Slightly Serious show at 9:30 p.m. Eastern. But next Monday on the Slightly Serious show, we will have members of the Free Think Institute coming on for interviews. So that should definitely be a good show. And then later on tonight, we for all this week, you won't be seeing Robert's Mr. Clean Show, but he'll be back next week. And then, of course, tomorrow morning, Ralph is on with his morning show, and he's on a mission, hopefully either before the end of this month, if not the end of this year. He wants to get 300,000 engagement points in his live show so he can get the crown and be up from being limited to 3 hours to 5 hours in terms of his live casts.
That's a lot of engagement points. I think I have over 100,000, so 300,000, that's a lot of points.
You look like you're at 101,608, but that'll probably change after this live is done.
Yeah, in the beginning when I first did this podcast, I worried about those things. I don't care anymore. I mean, for me, what it's about is just getting on, having good friends on the show, telling good stories, and hopefully entertaining you guys so you're not bored. Oh, I see what Lou's asking for. Hold on 1 second, Lou. I can help you out. Here we go. You ready?
Oh, ew.
There you go. How about another one? All right, now
Why did I do this for you?
let's do the short one.
Ew. I don't like that one.
All right, now, I added this myself yesterday. Now, if I have a jerk caller in or someone that's being an ass in the live, I figured I would throw this one out too. So tell me if you guys like this one. Douche canoe. So I'm not sure if you like that one.
Like I said, I'm going to DM you the sound effect of the lady that goes, oh, hell no. And maybe Kaitlyn can help you edit that into the Roadcaster soundboard.
You assume he can't do it himself.
Oh, no, he's right. I can't do it myself, so I do need your help. Thank you, though. Eric knows me well. I'm getting better with the technology.
Yeah.
Yet, but now you have to realize, all you youngins out there, I got my first computer when I was 27 years old. So think about that. So the fact that I can get on and do a podcast is like a miracle that I can actually do it.
And probably another interesting sound effect I would add to Chuck and Billy, like I'll probably try to DM it to him on Twitter, like, like if they want to add it to their sound effects, they need like a toilet flushing sound.
I need a bunch. I got a bunch of open buttons. So we gotta get me some of those sounds so I can actually do that.
I need to think of more that I can do because I feel like the ew is like great and all, but I feel like I need to be more than just the ew, you know?
Yeah, see, I like mine, but I don't like it in my voice, like the old douche canoe.
I don't like that.
You don't like that one? I kind of like that one. You
feel
know,
like it needs to be faster, like douche canoe.
Douche canoe. That could be true. It could be
Douche
funny.
canoe.
So I'm trying to make some new sounds and things like that. But yeah, so anyway, this week I'm going to have shows Tuesday, Wednesday, nothing on Thursday for Thanksgiving, but you never know.
Friday and Saturday, you'll be here.
I might play some Christmas music maybe Thursday night. I promise not before.
Oh, Kane's back.
Kane's back. Let's get him back in. Yeah, so I might.
I am so sorry about that, guys.
Yeah, go ahead.
I apologize. Friend of the family wanted to let us know that she wasn't feeling good and wasn't going to be able to see us off. So I had to take that call. And
oh, that's okay. You got to take care of those things first. Absolutely, that's very important. And Kane, I'm glad to hear you're still here because I was on that one show where it sounded like you weren't going to be doing podcasts for a little while, but it looks like you're kind of feeling a little bit better about things now. And
I will not be podcasting to February.
Oh no! Why?
Why?
That's I've said it on my shows. I will pop in when I can. My shows are not going to be on Podbean anymore.
Now, why is that? Have you dealt with trolls and bullies? Is that part of the reason, or?
No, I don't care for Podbean as much anymore. Podbean, I was getting ready to end a show, and they ended it for me. Like 15 minutes. They waited 15 minutes towards the end of a show to pull a switch on me, and that don't sit well with me. It didn't sit well with everybody because everybody thought I ended my show, and it was like, no, I did not end it. Come back.
Hey, Ron.
And I'm not gonna pay to have my stuff published, so.
Hey, hold on 1 second, Kane. I got Roman here. I want to mention something to him just so he knows because he could pop in and out. Hey, Roman, in case you're wondering, we actually had a troll come into my show yesterday. Didn't even acknowledge them, but they were using your name, so I know it wasn't you. They made a pretty rude comment after your name, but I wanted to let you know you had someone trolling using your name yesterday. All right, so just wanted to give you a heads up on that. So go ahead, Kane. I just wanted to let Roman know while he was here.
No problem. So yeah, my shows will come back in February. They will disappear around Lent once again, and then I will be back popping in and out with my shows because my shows are more pop-up shows. They wasn't really scheduled. I guess if I had a fan base like everybody else, there would be more scheduling in it, but some things are going on. The holidays we like celebrating them, but at the same time, they're very difficult for us.
Yeah.
They're very difficult. It's going to be our 6th year with a Thanksgiving without my dad. It's going to be 6 years of a Christmas without my dad. And my dad was big on Halloween. He was big on Thanksgiving. He was big on Christmas. So, he died to a man-made cancer, and I don't wish anything on anybody, even the trolls. Even though I joke about cooking them, roasting them, whatever, I do not wish any bad shit on anybody. Because when you see it, and because I'm pretty sure anybody here could say they thought their dad was the strongest person in the world. And then to see how they become like nothing, like it's rough. And then I had a cousin that was murdered on New Year's, 7 years.
Jeez.
And he had just dropped his kids off to his ex-wife's parents' house, and he was murdered in that driveway. And so it's like the holidays, we celebrate them, but within 1 year to the year we lost my dad, we lost like 8 people. And
I'll tell you, I wish I could give you a hug right now, brother. I'll give you a Podbean hug. That's very hard. I'm sorry you've had to go through all. I really am.
The only people I really stay online with are the people that are in my gaming community. We've all lost a parent. And when I've seemed to be drifting to my dark place, they've always been there to kind of anchor, kind of pull me back to myself. And then I started following haunters on Facebook. I started following clowns and stuff that do haunting, like haunted houses, and hence they inspired this beautiful, lovely face you see right here. And so Crazy's always on the move. Crazy's always going. If y'all have ever caught my show, I know John caught a couple of my shows recently where I said I was going to unplug from social media. But I want to pop in every now and then to let people know, hey, I'm okay. Don't worry about me. Because I know some people, if you don't hear from them from a while, they're going to be like, did you hear from him? I hadn't heard from him in a while. Is he okay? And if you're not a friend of mine and you don't know my social media stuff, you're not going to know anything.
Right. Well, you know what it is? I think we've formed, the one thing that's good about Podbean is we have formed friendships on here. And I think that's what it is. If people are asking, hey, have you heard from Crazy Kane? Have you heard from Roxanne? I haven't heard from her in quite some time. I think it's just, people care. And, even though this is it's different, it's strange to me still that I have all these people that I've never met that I consider friends now. It's like a weird new thing with, living in 2020. I mean, back when I was a kid, it was, you have your friends, and the friends are the people you hung out with or met up with or talked to on the phone. It wasn't something that was done through a computer or a platform. But I certainly, when I see certain people come in to this show, I'm very glad they come in. I'm happy to see them. And then when I see other people like Sinister Breed, I'm angry that they came in. I'm just kidding. It's not true. I love Sinister. He's a cool guy. But, I don't know. It's a weird new thing, but, people care. And I got to say to you, man, I know what you're saying about losing people you care about. I lost my mother. I think she's 13 years ago now. And my mother was a very, very important person in my life. And that was very, very difficult. And, even today, I still miss her on holidays. And then we lost my mother-in-law, who was another amazing woman. And we've missed her now for, I think, 6 or 7 years. And it's really hard to go through holidays without the people you love. I mean, I think about the Christmases and the Thanksgivings I had as a child. I mean, literally, with the exception of my father and my sister, all of the people that we celebrated those holidays with are now gone. My grandparents, my uncle, the family members that I love to see, they're all gone. And life has changed now. And, I'm kind of the old guy in the room now. And, I love having holidays with my children and maybe someday, grandchildren. And, then things will change for all of them also. But, I know it must be very, very hard for you to think about. You talked about your dad being a big, strong man. And it's true. I mean, I think children view their fathers as being these indestructible forces in their lives. And when you see something like that happen, it does kind of shake you to the core. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry you went through that. I'm sorry you miss your father. But, your father, I'm sure, still lives on inside of you. I'm sure part of you, is your father. Like I look at, my parents, and I think that, part of me lives on with my mother. My mother was very stubborn. She was a tough lady. But she was a person that cared about people. And, my father also, same type of guy. He was a tough guy. He raised us very strict. But I think, I carry a lot of what they taught me in my life. And I try to eliminate the bad that I learned, and I try to accentuate the good. And I think as an adult, that's all you can do. Because I think that, no person in any of our lives is perfect. I mean, my parents weren't perfect. I'm certainly not perfect. My wife isn't perfect. And, no one is perfect. But I think if you can learn from the people you have in your lives and try to take away the positives and try to squash the negatives, then it helps you become maybe a better person in the future. And it, hopefully, like I joke with my daughter sometimes, I'll say to her and my kids, I'm like, I think that, my father and mother were better than their parents. And I think I'm a little bit better than my parents. So for you guys, your great grandchildren have a chance to be normal if you all keep growing. That's always my joke to them. There's a chance down the road that you could be normal. So, I don't know, but hearing your story makes me sad, man. I hope you can find a way to be happy, this holiday. I consider
I'm always happy. Can't you see the smile on my profile pic right here? I'm always happy. Even when I'm sad, I'm happy.
Yeah, I see Eric's comment down there. Podbean was and is a blessing in disguise for me, meeting great people and making new friends. And, Mr. A, I'm pretty new to Podbean, but I think most of you guys are pretty cool. That's how I feel too. I mean, you get the occasional ass that comes in and is a jerk or whatever. But, for me, when I even think about the trolls coming in to my show and other shows, I mean, the troll coming in and making rude comments, mean comments, obviously has some issues in their life they have to deal with, and they need attention. Maybe they're insecure, and they probably have problems like the rest of us. So I try not to overreact when you get trolls in the room, but sometimes when they say personal things, it's kind of hard not to react.
Or they're impersonating people that they don't know, of course.
Right. I like that name. Hey, look, that's me. Enter the live studio. That's one of my favorite names. I like that. That's a good one. Welcome, Duke, also. So, look at everything coming in. So, hey, I don't know. I still got Aimee and Acon on the line. I'm going to probably wrap this up soon, but I want to give you two ladies a chance to talk again before we get off, and then I'll go to Crazy and Eric, and we'll wrap this up. So, Aimee and Acon, anything you want to leave with us about really anything? If you want to talk about, again, the Agape shows, if you want to talk about the rally, anything you're planning for Thanksgiving and Christmas, I'll let you guys go, and then I'll move on to Kane and Eric, and we'll probably wrap this thing up within, 15 minutes or so. So, ladies, you have anything you want to talk about?
You got to unmute them first.
I think are they unmuted? Let's see. It looks like they're both not muted. I have the opportunity to mute them, but let's see.
It's showing them muted on my end.
Oh, is it really? Let me see. Mine. Okay, let me try. I muted them and unmuted them. So let me try. Can you hear me now?
Acon?
See, mine says mute, so I muted and then unmuted.
Okay,
There-
yeah,
there's
I
Aimee.
can hear you guys now. Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Now we can hear. Okay.
Um,
Go ahead. So yeah, let us know what's up with you guys. Let us know how you want to close out your interview on the show.
Well, I just want to say again, thank you for helping us getting, again, the awareness out with these schools and, everything going on. There actually is an event coming up in Wyoming. We've got another rally that it's going to be May 15th. Again, it's going to be, I think Aimee tagged you in it. If not, we'll make sure to tag you guys in
I
it.
did see that. I got it. Yeah, I got the invite. I was invited to that. I saw it last night.
Yeah, so we're going to be saving up for that, so that way we can, because there's 5 different schools, that we're finding out about in Wyoming. So we're going to, go out there and, everybody's going to, be sharing their stories and trying to get, the community more aware of, what's going on with these kids and, bring justice to the families. Again, for people that are just coming on, it's a very, very big deal for us, to locate Rachel Kelso, who was an individual who went through these schools and went through this torment. She does have the mental handicaps and disabilities, and her family has attorneys. We're trying to locate her and trying to find her, and to basically
did she just disappear from the school and nobody knows where she is? Is that what happened? Because I'm going to look into this.
Yeah, they were allowing her to, write to her family for a little bit, and all of a sudden she went missing. Like, nobody knows where she's at. Nobody knows, how she's doing. Literally, it's kind of like, someone falling off the face of the earth. She is 100% MIA. We have no clue about her whereabouts.
How long has she been missing for?
Aimee, how long has she been missing for?
I don't know exactly how long. It's been a couple months.
It's been a couple months that we've been looking for her.
Wow.
So
a couple of months isn't good. I mean, obviously she either ran off or something happened.
Well, if she did ran off, if she was able to escape, and if she did end up escaping, hopefully, someone's able to contact, her family or, a fellow survivor, just to give us some type of hint of where she may be.
Now, she's missing from here. Wyoming, was it?
I'm sorry?
Where is she missing from again? What state?
She was in Missouri. She was at the Circle of Hope, and
for a lot of years. Supposedly she went home and was writing letters supporting Boyd and Stephanie and the several homegirls.
She supposedly got sent home and was writing letters, but yet
supporting Boyd and Stephanie.
But yet it wouldn't make any sense for her to write letters supporting Boyd and Stephanie.
Her.
Because they were brainwashing her because of her mental handicap, and we can't find her. Her family can't locate her, and it's scary, and especially
where's her home state? Where does she live? Where's home for her?
For her, home would be Arizona.
All right, hey, I'm going to spend some time on this. Trust me when I tell you that. I'm going to spend some time.
We're going to do advertisements for Arizona.
Yep.
I believe.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Like, in any state, in any time zone, like I said, anybody who's just coming on to the show right now, spread the word out. We're looking for this girl, Rachel Kelso. Her family is worried sick, and especially with the holidays coming up, nobody knows if she's even alive.
Yeah, how old is she?
Scary. How old is she?
Yeah.
She's in her 20s now.
Okay, in her 20s.
I believe she's in her mid to late 20s.
Wow. That is horrible to hear.
Are y'all going to eat the car? You're going to eat the car.
Rachel Kelso. Eric just posted her name, and Dina Joe asked the question, is her family looking for her?
Her family is. They have many, many attorneys. They are doing their best to reach out to their local authorities, and try to figure out what's going on, because, with the authorities looking for her, not being able to find her, like, these evil people that are in existence, they need to be put behind bars for this.
They do. Yeah. Now, let me ask you, because I'm formulating a plan as I ask you questions. Do you have contact with her family? Do you have any contact with her family? Because what I would like to do is set up a show and maybe interview family and friends to see if we can help find her.
I can definitely reach out to some of our fellow survivors to see if we can get in contact with her family, because, I think they would definitely like to come on to the podcast to help, get the awareness out about Rachel missing, and, even help to spread awareness of, the whole scenario of what's going on. But, I mean, any outlet that could be provided to help her family to locate her it would be such a blessing and very amazing.
I'm here. So what I'm going to do is after we get off, I'm going to spend some time researching her, maybe looking into some more about what's going on. But yeah, if you have any things with her family, write them, let them know that I want to help, and I will talk to them and let them decide whether or not they want to come on with me.
I thought I heard rude.
I'll do everything in my power to help. So I will gladly broadcast and advertise.
I totally went through your car, by the way. I locked it.
Yeah, thank you. That like I said, that would be amazing. And again, I will reach out to the other survivors and people, and we'll do our best so that way we can actually get in touch with their families so that way they can share their story and their situation right now, because I can't imagine as a parent what they must be thinking. I mean, I would be terrified to death if my children went missing. So I can only imagine how brokenhearted they are, especially with the holidays and not having their child home.
Yeah, I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine what that feels like. So we'll do what we can do to help.
It's the
All
brothers
right.
and
Well,
the sisters.
ladies, thank you for joining us. I'm going to look into it. If you could, try to reach out to them, see if you can get some information for me.
Yeah, and
Shoot me a message on social media or whatever. Amy's got my cell phone number, so shoot it off to me in a text or something. All right? Okay, ladies,
because
thank you very
I
much.
think we'd love to hear from Rachel's family too, and
Absolutely.
and I think, of course, and if the FBI is also looking into this in local law enforcement in Missouri and in Arizona as well.
Yeah, I agree. All right, ladies, I'm going to mute you since there's a lot of background noise. I'm going to go to Crazy Kane. Thank you for joining, and we look forward to having you guys back on again very soon. All right, ladies, thank you. All right, so Crazy Kane, why don't you give us your goodbye? Let us know what's up, and are we going to see you on any of the other shows this week? I'm going to be on, except for Thanksgiving Day, every day.
I make no promises.
Okay.
My time is very consuming at the moment with getting ready to do some family things, planning things with the family. Like I said, I have a gaming community. I have to follow through on some stuff for them.
Nice.
And we just got our 11th member, and we're slowly growing on that end. So that's another reason why I don't podcast as much. I got caught out by it. So it is what it is.
Yep.
I'm responsible for them. They don't want no one else but me to run the show. So it's like I got a prior engagement, got to handle that. But as far as these schools and stuff, evil wears many faces. People, truly evil people, who claim that they're there to do the Lord's work. Be careful of that. Because it's kind of like the wolf hiding in sheep's clothing.
Absolutely.
But in my case, because I'm doing research on my heritage, there's two types of wolves. You got the wolf that does the devil's work, and you have the wolf that will tear those wolves apart. And what I mean by that is I am a Christian, but my ancestors were Norse, pagans. And when I find my history out and my roots, I do my best to learn about it. Because that's where we come from. We have to learn our roots. And yeah, I've been to my show. I know Eric has heard me say this a bunch of times. I study all facts of history, good, bad, and the downright ugly. And I try to open and enlighten people's minds to not be one-sided. And for these people, these wicked people that think they have power, people like me, the twisted people that don't let their madness control them, we're the ones that will deal with you at a later date. We are the ones that hide in the shadows, seeking out you people, just like the trolls. Now, don't take this, if anybody's listening to this, don't take that as a threat, because it's not. We know how to do things the legal way. And you think you're going to get away with something, we'll make sure in the long haul you're either going to be brought to justice here, or when your time comes, I would hate to be in that big courtroom upstairs. Because in the end, we all have to answer the piper in the end.
No, you're right.
So
I mean,
if you get away with it here, don't think you're going to get away with it there.
And, I don't know if people even get away with it here. I do firmly believe that there is karma in this life. I do believe that if you live in a negative way, you're going to have it come back to you, 2 and 3-fold, and you will pay in this life. But you're right. I mean, for me, the way I try to think about it is, do I go to church every Sunday? I do not. I do have a problem with man-made religion, and I do have, without question, a one-on-one relationship with God. I believe in God fully. I love my God. And the God I believe in is a loving, forgiving, caring God that does not wish harm on people, does not encourage abuse, doesn't, hate gay people, and again, the God I believe in is a loving God. And what I try to do is I try to live my life to the best of my ability. I am 52 years old. I've made a lot of mistakes in my life, a lot of bad decisions. I've not always been the good guy. I've been the bad guy. In school, there were a couple instances where I did bully people. Not usually. I was usually one that stuck up for the bullied, but I did make mistakes in doing that. And I have made a lot of mistakes in my life. But at this point in my life, here I am, and I'm trying to do what I can to do the right thing on a daily basis. I don't always win, and none of us do. I know there are people out there that maybe feel really guilty for mistakes they've made or decisions they've made or things they've done. But all we can do as people is, realize, number one, that we're all imperfect. We all make mistakes. We all make bad decisions. But you just keep trying to fight the good fight. You keep trying to, turn your life to good. You keep trying to do good things. You keep trying to maybe help people who can't help themselves. Because, in my mind, that's what a definition, is of a hero, is someone that's willing to stand up for people that can't help themselves. It's someone that, is willing to go out on a limb to help someone that needs help. Even in school, if you're young and you see a student sitting by him or herself at lunch, go over and be brave and sit with that person. Invite that person to sit with you. Little small random acts of kindness are such important things.
They do go a long way.
They do. And maybe as we close the show today, that's something we can all try to do. Maybe today, this week, leading into the holidays. If you're still on and you're listening today, do one small random act of kindness for a stranger. Something as simple as, we have Dunkin' Donuts as a big coffee chain up here. I go through the drive-through of Dunkin' Donuts almost every day to get my coffee. And sometimes I will pay for the people behind me to get their coffee. And it starts like a pay it forward line where people start paying for other people's coffees. It's a little small thing. Maybe if you don't have enough money to do that, hold the door open for somebody. Say something nice to somebody. Just do something nice that will pay it forward and maybe make someone feel good. I think if we all did that more often, as Dina Joe says, be nice to others, be kind, open the door, smile, pay it forward, then maybe they'll have like an effect where we, if we're nice to 10 people and they're all nice to 10 people, that's 100 people. And then it's 1,000 people. And you never know how doing something kind for a person might be. You might do something kind for people that's grasping at straws, that maybe is at the end of their rope, and they just need that small act of kindness to let them know that they have something to believe in to continue on in this life. Because this life can kick you, it can beat you down, it can be very difficult. I think a lot of people have been there. I've been there, and anything you can do to maybe help someone feel good as opposed to beating someone down, might be a nice thing to do. So maybe we can all try that this week, going into Thanksgiving, going into Christmas. Do something nice for somebody, even if it's a small gesture, So, Eric, all right, Eric, I'm going to let you go, and I'm going to sign this off because I got to get back to work.
Well,
so, thanks for joining us.
Well, when you have Dina Joe on Friday, I imagine when she closes out that interview, she'll close it out the same way. We always close out the Old Man Show when she always says, be the reason someone smiles today. Let your smile change the world, but don't let the world change your smile. Right, Dina?
It's so true, because all of us deal with it. Dean is such a positive person. I cannot wait to have her on my show. Like I've talked about, she sends cards to my children. She is a wonderfully kind and warm person, and I feel so happy that we have gotten to know her through this, this crazy Podbean world. And I look forward to hearing, about Dean and Joe, because Dean and Joe have a lot of things in common. Also, we both have a child with autism. We've got Eric here that has autism, and it's good to be able to talk to people that understand, what you go through in life. And, to have Eric here, I mean, look how well Eric does, man. Eric kills it. He's smart. He's a good guy. He's a hard worker. And when I look at Eric in his 30s, it gives me hope that my son is going to be able to be what Eric is. So there's so many things I've taken out of this. So, Eric, you want to run down some of the list of shows, and then we'll end this thing?
Well, of course, I'll be back later for Slightly Serious at 9:30 Eastern, 6:30 Pacific, but always be on the lookout for other good podcast shows, including Milk Dog and, Just Another Day in Paradise, Dreadnought 928, VOP USA, and then tomorrow morning it's Ralph at 6 a.m. Eastern, and the Chit Chat with the Old Man Show is back, tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern. But the programming note about the Old Man Show is he won't have shows Thursday, Friday, and Sunday in observance of Thanksgiving. But he could always do an impromptu music show. You never know. But be on the lookout later this week for the Talking Corner with our good buddy Cracks. And I will try to talk to her and see if I can convince her to come on your show for the Get to Know Your Podcaster interview. And hopefully we can work on convincing Ralph to come on at some time. And then we definitely look forward to you.
Crazy comment. Crazy says you need to be in the Hall of Fame for promoting other shows. I agree.
Thank you. Well, and definitely, I'll definitely see if I can convince Dennis Lee and Donald Wayne from Tall Tales in the Rabbit Hole and Trace Talk to come on as well. And
love to have
and I definitely look forward to you going on Sinister Breeze show for the interview, and him and Chuck and Billy coming on to your show as well.
No,
and then, of course, the interviews tomorrow with Cummings, Wednesday with Slightly, Friday with Dina, and Saturday with Mr. Impact.
It'll be fun. And then one of these days, we're going to book you, Eric Kirk, and we're going to learn everything about you from day one. So be ready, my friend. I'm coming for you.
Well, I'll see everybody later. So love you and God bless you.
Thank you, everybody. And we'll see you again tomorrow now. Take care.